That's really impressive.
That was very impressive.
Thank you very much.
Oh, holy shit, homework's back. Somewhat ironically, for an episode that's taken 4 months for us to get out, the theme is speed.
And we've all taken speed.
Thanks to Sam Smith for the intro track, which is called Mashing Words Into Your Face. Although I like to think that this show kind of gently massages them into your face. That's our preferred technique. I don't feel the show violently kind of shoves them in your face. We just kind of
consensually.
Just gently work them in slowly. I am joined by the final piece of the regular features what is it?
Quadrant.
Quadrumvirate.
Oh, quadrumvirate.
You're able to triumvirate for 3, but because you're like the 4th missing piece, so if there was the Triforce, you'd be kind of the centre.
I could be a quadfecta as well.
Yes.
You get trifectas. I could be...
You're a quadfecta.
Yeah, I'm the last one to be here.
I would have just said 4.
The third of the 4.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people mispronounce your surname.
Hogarty.
Hogarty.
Steve Hogarty.
Not Hoggarty.
No,
or
but I've confused
Mephistopheles.
I don't
As
want
I've done. Awful.
to start pimping my dog blog, but that is pronounced Steve Dogarty, which sort of confuses the issue somewhat.
Yeah, you don't say, oh, look at that lovely dog.
I say, what a lovely dog, if it's a particularly beautiful
You're the man
dog.
now, dog. And on my left, I have Johnny Chiodini, or as one viewer of GameSpot show Feedbackula called him.
Oh, Christ.
Titty twister, tea and crumpets please, goat face, ass low, son of a whore, shit in the bucket, death breath, dick beating virgin, mutation gone wrong. Butt brains, Chiodini.
That's me, yeah.
Welcome!
Thank you. I do not have a blog, but if I had one and wanted to confuse people about my surname...
That would be the URL.
I'd call it Chiodini's Cheeses. That would be it.
Chiodini's Keeses.
Love a bit of keys.
Amazing. Before we kick off with the speed-related shenanigans, there's a bit of a throwback to the episode you were on last, actually, which was episode 2, and we were pondering whether Story of Ricky was the first film to have that kind of X-ray.
Yeah, I remember.
Do you remember the breaking bones? Now, one viewer who's got a very good memory, Andy Richardson, said in the 1971 Sonny Chiba film, The Street Fighter, there's one in there as well. So that's probably the first one, 1971. And yeah, we've got a clip of that, and it's basically a guy just getting lamped in the head, and it shows his skull exploding. There you go. Okay, so before we get into the game, got to do the honourable mentions. Now, from you guys on this, I want a 2-word response. The first is whether you've played or seen what they've suggested or not.
Okay.
The second is what you thought of it or imagine it to be like. So the first one is Kevin Dimmick, and he suggested the film Speed Racer.
No. Fast.
No. Colourful.
Good. Marie Tanner, Talk.
No. Tense.
No. Helicopters?
Dale Crump.
A lot of talk, don't they?
I think it's a motorbike film. Dale Crump, District B13.
No. Bureaucratic.
Steve.
Yes. Is this one word? Un-South American? Sorry, South African. What was the District 13?
Maybe that's the same film.
What's the one with the aliens?
Oh no, that's
District 9.
District 9.
Yeah.
So
I've seen
not
that.
Un-South African.
What would you have said if it was that?
I would have said yes, South African.
They're 2 words. Anyway, Mark Hamer, Chase HQ.
No. I've already said bureaucratic. Pursuey.
Pursuey.
Pursuant.
No, confined. Because if you're having a chase, and it's presumably inside the HQ. So
You've never played Chase HQ?
Played? Oh, it's a game.
It's
I
a
thought it was just a
game.
film.
Yeah.
Yes, I've played it.
There you go.
Yes, and criminals. There are criminals.
Craig Bedford, F-Zero-X.
Yes, spinning.
Yes.
No, 60 FPS.
Tenuous. And finally, Allard Edwards suggests Fast and Furious. Not the Fast and the Furious,
Oh,
the fourth one.
because I was going to say yes and then either Corona or who. But Fast and Furious, no. I'm still going to go with who, I think.
Well,
I think that's the sound the scriptwriter made for most of it.
No, and I could just pick any other noise. So maybe
Good noise. And on that noise, we'll go to our game, which is McPixel. So, McPixel was... I say it was chosen. It was basically shown to me by Mike Channell, previous guest Mike Channell. And it just seemed to fit this show perfectly, because, frankly, all the other suggestions were a bit rubbish. Or just too obvious. And we tried to go with Let's Tap, but nobody owns Let's Tap or has ever played Let's Tap except me, it seems. So we thought McPixel would be quite accessible. McPixel opens with the lead character pissing on a giant mound of dynamite, and then it explodes. I think that really sums up McPixel. What did you make of it?
I think I really related to the character of McPixel.
He's very rich and deep, isn't he? Very well, very well conceived.
It's quite difficult to follow. So what the idea of the game is that it's a series of very quick mini games in which McPixel must defuse or otherwise get rid of a bomb that exists on the screen, and you do this by clicking on objects, and McPixel interprets your clicks in different ways. Mostly by running up to the object and kicking it for a bit to see if that helps.
Or weeing on it.
Or pissing on it.
Or in the case of, there's one level with a hot dog vendor, and if you click on like the bottle of like ketchup, whatever, he will just like grab the dynamite which is hidden in the hot dog bun, slather it in ketchup, and just go, and then it explodes. It's really weird. It's kind of like WarioWare in that you have to just assess the situation and work out what the best course of action is immediately, but sometimes it's a really lateral thing. You know,
it's always a lateral thing. I don't think there's ever a best course of action in McPixel. We were talking about this earlier. We were just saying that there's a point when the level ends, and you're never actually sure if you've got the good outcome or not. Until it kind of cuts away and just shows an explosion or not.
It pans out to the building or the scene that you're in.
Yeah.
And then if you are successful, the building doesn't explode, and McPixel just shows up on the screen.
Yeah.
But more often than not, it does explode because you've kicked the wrong thing, or the time's just run out.
The Star Wars one is a good one. So yeah, one of the bonus stages that they're all movie things. This is the one with Aliens and Terminator and Titanic. The Star Wars one is particularly surreal because you've got R2-D2, who it transpires has a bomb in it, which is the first thing you do. You kick R2-D2, falls over, he explodes. Then you pick up a lightsaber and you think, I'll go to Darth Vader and try and hit Darth Vader. The lightsaber explodes. So what you have to do is get the lightsaber, hit Luke Skywalker with the lightsaber, shove the lightsaber in your own face. It splits into two green lightsabers that make you fly.
They sort of come out your ears, don't they?
Yeah, they come out your ears and you kind of flap
up
around
and
you grab R2-D2 and you fly over to Darth Vader, drop R2-D2 on Darth Vader, and he blows up and he's basically nude except for a pair of purple pants.
which in terms of the game world is a bit weird because basically R2-D2 exploding on the floor destroys like the whole Death Star.
Yes.
Versus him exploding 3 feet to one side.
Merely blasts
Fine.
Darth Vader.
Logic is not this game's friend, though.
It's like a fever dream, the whole experience.
I find, but the whole thing is like so deliberately inscrutable. It's the kind of distillation of a point-and-click game with any of the logic kind of removed from it. And McPixel himself is just the epitome of that game's inscrutability. He's just this he's very kind of bland-looking. He's got like a red jumper on, ginger hair, and just this permanently blank expression of just like, I'm doing the worst things. But
I love the chapter select screen, which is McPixel at various stages of his life and a whole.
Yeah.
And the way you select a chapter is you click on one of these versions of yourself. And if you click chapter 1, it's the baby. You basically pick it up and drop kick it into the hole, and then dive in afterwards. And that's you selecting chapter 1.
Yeah. So it's just McPixel abusing various versions of himself to start a level. So
it's fine to kick a baby as long as it's the past version of yourself.
I've got to say, I've never played a game whereby I'm reminded so often of the protagonist's name, because every time you start a level, and these levels are like 20 seconds long, so you chain a lot of them in a very short space of time. It says McPixel, and if you solve it, then great, you see the level and it goes McPixel. But if you fail, it's like, fuck it, McPixel. I know what it's called, for fuck's sake.
Was it Zebra Matt on Facebook? Just that was his comment on the game was McPixel, because it doesn't say McPixel.
That's right, yeah. It's McPixel.
McPixel. Yeah, it's just the way it says. Even the way it says the name is completely arbitrary. And Sparky Marky just said McPixel is stupid, yet I can't stop playing it. And that's it. It's incredibly compelling. It's one of the few games I've been able to kind of show my wife, and she's actually just burst out laughing watching it, because it is just ridiculously anarchic. That hot dog one you mentioned, the solution to that is you get the hot dog and you throw it behind a bush, because you see these two red eyes behind a bush. You throw it behind there, and it turns out there's a weed-smoking alien behind there who inhales the hot dog and it explodes in his face.
Yeah,
I
and
saw
again,
that,
that's the explosion having diminished effects when it's with a comedic outcome.
It seems to be that the imbibement of the bomb seems to be the most
muffles the...
Yeah, there was that portal one we saw where you fire the portal into Chell's stomach.
Yeah.
And the dynamite explodes in her and basically
creates a distended stomach
chest combination thing that just flops onto the floor.
It's funny that...
and a cake appears.
There were like 2 tiers, or 2 solutions to every... Well, there's one proper solution, and then to get the gold on every level,
yes,
you need to find the funny solution.
Yeah.
As if, like, having Darth Vader's clothes get blown off is not the funny answer to that solution.
But that was the deadly serious one. Now let's find all the hilarious alternatives.
We've gone down to brass tacks. We've blown Vader into his pants. Now let's have a bit of fun. Yeah.
Have you ever done 3 of them in a row? Like you get 3 golds or 3 silvers in a row?
No.
Mm-mm.
That unlocks a bonus game. So I don't know if you've done it and you see these squares appear, and if you fail, I think it kind of blows them away. You get these bonus games that have no clear solution. I don't think they're meant to. One of them is it Nyan Cat? It looks like Nyan Cat, but I think it's a cow. And then Nyan Cow is flying along, and then it's just McPixel on a rainbow with about 8 cats, and you can pick up one of the cats and then touch the other cats with that cat.
I have played that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was a dream. I was playing it in bed, and it's like, was that a real thing? Because I couldn't find it when I went back to it. I thought, no, that's not part of the game. That's actually in the game.
That was a weird half-sleep hallucination you thought you had, yeah.
Oh, that's...
Fair play. Who would implement a feature, even in McPixel, where you pick up a cat and just go onto another cat?
That's it, you just go around introducing the cat
That's amazing.
to other cats.
I genuinely didn't think that was real.
There you go.
Put my mind to rest.
McPixel, the first game to blur the boundaries between dream and reality. It's available on Steam, Android, and iOS, and if you haven't played it, I would strongly, strongly recommend it, because it's just stupid fun. And on that, we will move over to our film, Cannonball Run 2, which was sort of suggested by Kevin Attard. I say sort of because he suggested the first one, and everyone here behind the camera in their infinite wisdom said, no, watch the Cannonball Run 2, it's amazing. A view that was echoed by viewer Mike Harrison, who just said, Cannonball Run 2, great shout. I don't think any of you could be more wrong. Cannonball Run 2, I think, is best described as a series of things that happen, and then an orangutan kisses a shake. What more can I say? I mean, here's the IMDb description of the plot of what there is. The original characters from the first movie race across the country once more in various cars and trucks.
Various cars and trucks.
You may as well have just written the number 2.
Yeah, exactly. The stakes are that high. I mean, the Cannonball Run, the whole idea was it was a race from New York to Connecticut. You win $1 million or something.
See, I hadn't seen Cannonball 1, so
not I.
I worried that I wasn't going to be able to keep up with the plot. But I found within the first 5 or so minutes, I pretty much was up to speed.
Yeah.
So yeah. Oh, yeah.
He says the name,
yeah.
he wins the prize.
Yeah.
Do you feel you really connected with Burt Reynolds though? Like would you have connected with him more strongly if you'd seen the first one?
I think so. I was initially impressed by the first line being racist, and these were characters that existed in the first film. The Sheik family, they're called the Falafels.
Yes, they're called the Falafels. Yes, and apparently the Falafels have been the fastest family for 1,000 centuries.
Fastest in the desert. They have faster camels than everyone else.
And there's kind of a horrible pastiche of the Lawrence of Arabia theme that plays, and
whenever they talk,
yeah,
or appear on screen,
which is what happens when any gross racial stereotype appears on screen. So,
but hey, he's not the only gross racial stereotype. Actually, that's not true. Jackie Chan is not a racial stereotype.
No, he's not.
He's just
Jackie Chan is like Jackie Chan as he always is. He's probably the best thing in the movie, but he's clearly surrounded by a lot of horrible racists.
That's what I meant to say.
Before I was rudely interrupted. So from what I understand, Jackie Chan is basically in this as part of a contractual obligation. And I also saw the film is co-produced by Golden Harvest that did all of his Hong Kong Kung Fu movies.
Right.
And at this point in the 80s, this is when Jackie Chan was very heavily sponsored by Mitsubishi.
Really?
Yes. If you watch any Jackie Chan movie from the 80s, maybe in the early 90s, there's a lot of Mitsubishi product placement. It's one of the earliest examples, I think, in films of product placement. But he had a multi-film Mitsubishi sponsorship thing. So for some reason there'll be an amazing Mitsubishi van, or there'll be signs for it, or he'll have a fight in a Mitsubishi garage, I think happens in one of them. And in this one he kind of takes it into this American film.
So he takes part in the Cannonball Run in a Mitsubishi car, which is not dissimilar to the Knight Rider car in that it's very high tech.
Very high tech. And who accompanies him in that
None
car?
other than Jaws from the James Bond films.
Jaws, the shark from the Shark movie. Richard Keeley played.
Laughing about
Just like, why is nobody helping me?
A shark, an actual shark.
He's actually rigged up to the car and controlling it with his shark mind.
Just pausing to puke up that little Kittner boy. Like, oh, I don't feel well.
That alone would be more entertaining than this entire film.
Although, did you notice? Sorry to interrupt you.
No.
But there was a scene where Jackie Chan and Jaws end up in a lake and must drive the high-tech car underwater as a submarine. And there's sort of like a pastiche of the Jaws theme sort of plays. Obviously, they couldn't license the actual Jaws theme.
So it's bum.
But they end up hooking onto like a fisherman on the lake and pulling them along the. So that must have been quite knowing, because they knew this guy's character in James Bond was called Jaws.
Doubly knowing, because they go underwater to play the Jaws theme, but also the underwater car is it Spy Who Loved Me?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Roger Moore was in the first Cannonball Run.
This film is really intelligent.
The more we talk about it, it's like, wow. There's so much more going on than I ever gave this film credit for. Beyond the racism, beyond the crass sexism, beyond the complete lack of any discernible comedy or
There are
plot.
jokes about racism.
They're race-related. They're not racist. I'm still trying to wrap my head around this.
Race-related. So calling Jackie Chan Ching Chong is not racist.
No, that's racist. But
go on, dig, Johnny.
No.
Oh, hang on. Here's another one. Here's another one. What are the name of all the Cosa Nostra families in this movie?
Okay, so there's rigatoni.
Yeah, I've got them here. The raviolis, the fettuccinis, the tortellonis.
Fettuccines are the main ones, right?
I think so. Yeah. No,
As a covert Italian, I find this quite defensive.
Are the main ones.
Dan, they're all the names of, I don't know if you got this, Italian pastas.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. I can independently
That's not racist.
verify
That's
that.
just a cultural observation.
That's
No,
just
it's kind of
hilarious,
racist.
Really?
I once met my ex-girlfriend's aunt and uncle, and they were, as it turned out, just quite racist. And when I told them my surname and then told them how to spell it, they were like, Chiodini. It was like, no, a hard sound like Chianti. And my girlfriend's aunt just went, I'll call you Johnny Chianti. And that's what they knew me as for the rest of the time.
That's what you get for saying your name is like Chianti.
How do you explain to people that it's Hogarty rather than Hogarty?
Hogarty like the Pogues.
Yeah, well, fucking, yeah, I don't,
The Pogues are not as nice as Chianti.
No, they're not. Although, ironically, none of the Pogues are Irish anyway.
Is that true?
That's true.
Oh.
That's news to me.
There you go. I'm sorry. I've just burst another bubble there. But look, I mean, this film is, in my mind, a mess. It was also. I didn't even know the Razzies, the Raspberries were running that early, and it got 8 nominations.
That's unfair. That's
Unfair.
I ended up really liking the film by the end.
You feel like it's becoming a victim now.
When the
itself.
sheik was kidnapped and placed in a brothel, and he came around to the idea of having women fawning over him and gave them all his money, I thought, I like this.
What a lovely philanthropic gesture.
He's got Stockholm syndrome. It's not philanthropic.
I loved the fact that the mobsters, the cannellonis, were their plan was to kidnap the sheik and to hold him up to ransom.
Yes.
And their dastardly plans to catch him included things like putting claws on the front of their bumper.
It's got this whole wacky race element where,
Yes.
where out of nowhere they suddenly get another mode of transport.
Like a helicopter with a big magnet on the bottom of it.
They're sort of like, how do you fly this thing? Oh, I don't know. And then they got a magnet on a helicopter, and then they get hooked to a car, and then they go into a tunnel because the budget.
You
doesn't
can't
stretch
have any
above.
explosions.
You
Yeah.
can't have any explode. They just kind of disappear into the tunnel. There's a bit of clanking, and then the car comes out the other side with no helicopter attached to it. And then immediately after that, they've somehow managed to get hold of a biplane with a prostitute in it.
Yes. The prostitute lures the sheik. The prostitute is the one trick. So holding a rope.
She's going to have to turn more than one if she wants to eat. I'm just saying now.
Because I counted, they had 4 tricks. One was the claws in the front of the bumper.
Yep.
Second was the magnet on a helicopter.
Yep.
Third one was pulling a rope across the road.
Oh yeah, it was like
The
industrial cable, wasn't it?
Yeah.
How did that
It was
one
like a
fail?
bungee cord, and they put it onto a billboard, and it just tore the billboard down. The billboard fell on top of them. That was the weakest one, to be honest.
Very Wile E. Coyote.
They didn't stack it very well. I would have thought the helicopter would have superseded the cable prank.
The weakest jape.
Yeah.
The weakest caper in the middle of the series, but no, they.
I think the comedy curve.
One of the few things this film got wrong.
This otherwise flawless masterpiece got wrong.
Well, while we're talking technical excellence, we alluded to it earlier. I do feel like we need to talk about the fact that at the end they stopped caring about the race, and it turned out that it was won by an orangutan, and everyone went, "All right."
Yeah, the film kind of the culmination of it's supposed to be everyone getting to Connecticut, but it actually culminates with this massive fight between. There's Telly Savalas, for some reason. He thinks that the mafia boss, who's called Don,
Very good.
Don Cannelloni, who's also weirdly camp and has a gun that's that big.
Yes.
He owes him money, and then there's the mafia guys are trying to kidnap the sheik, whatever, and everyone else just arrives at this hotel and has a big fight. And in the background, there's some women in bikinis.
That's exactly what
And
happens.
that goes on for about 20 minutes. Jackie Chan is given about 5 seconds of airtime.
See, I wasn't
to
sure
fight.
up until the very end of the film when Jackie Chan is referred to by name. I didn't know if it was Jackie Chan as Jackie Chan or
Yeah.
Jackie Chan as a Mitsubishi driver.
Yeah.
But then at the end, I've forgotten the name of the.
Burt Reynolds.
Burt Reynolds, yeah. Burt Reynolds
JJ.
calls him Jackie, and that's it. That's
And
the
then they
only
shake
reference.
hands.
They shake hands, and then
East
obviously
meets West.
East meets
I
West.
still can't get past this Mitsubishi thing. Like the Casino Royale, yeah, fine. Everyone drives a Ford because Ford, like, they were sponsoring them, whatever. So that like, what is it, Ford, whatever. It drives a certain type of car, fine, because he drives fucking cars because he's James Bond.
Yeah.
Jackie Chan, imagine that board meeting. Like, all right, Mitsubishi, we've got this much to spend. We need to sponsor somebody big, a celebrity. Jackie Chan?
Jackie Chan.
He's good with his hands. You need those to drive.
Well, he doesn't even drive the car. Jaws drives the car. He sits in the back doing all the technical things. So this version of Knight Rider that they've invented can do 2 things. One is they have an afterburner, which basically puts flames out the back of the car.
And makes all the footage in the film speed up.
Yeah, they sort of overcrank the footage so it goes at twice speed.
Brilliant.
And also, at the beginning of the film, this is how they introduce the car, Jaws says, "Let's go invisible." Now, To me, that suggests they're going to make the car go invisible. But rather, the car disappears and then floats in from the top of the screen. You can never see the top of the car, so they couldn't bother to cut out the wires or anything. It just sort of comes down to the ground and it speeds off again.
You can actually see the shadow of the crane that's lifting it down. So what I didn't know is that there's actually a third Cannonball Run movie, but everybody from Cannonball Run 2 disowned it. I think except one guy. So there's nobody in it from the previous Cannonball Run movies.
The people in Cannonball Run 2 were ashamed of this film.
Even the people in it. Everyone involved in its making were completely ashamed of it. So, and because Burt Reynolds is the kind of keystone of the Cannonball Run franchise,
He holds them together.
he's the cosmic glue that holds the franchise together. Because he ditched it, they were like, oh, we just won't call it Cannonball Run 3 anymore. So they called it Speed Zone. And the only kind of person of note I could find in it is John Candy, but it is, to all intents and purposes, exactly the same as the other two, has the exact same premise, and is incredibly terrible.
With John Candy?
With John Candy.
This sounds like a better film.
And here's the best bit. One of the actors in it is called Dick Smothers.
Is John Candy racing in the back of a budget van with his poker band?
I don't know.
Because if he's not, I won't watch.
I didn't go so far as to see if it was actually a very kind of convoluted prequel to...
That's
Planes.
fair. That's fair.
Not Planes, Trains and Automobiles. You're referring Home Alone. The other one. The other one where John Hughes is annoying in it. John. Not John Hughes. Oh, fucking hell. I've completely fucked it up. John Candy. It's been a long time since I've done this. I'm sorry. Yeah, I think that's a good time to end. This rum and coke is coming to a very rapid close. So, because we are going to be doing some racing of our own now, let's cut to the challenge. Hey, and welcome to the inaugural Explosive Alan Office Wheelie Chair Time Trial Gauntlet Challenge. This was inspired by Caleb Moore, who had seen this scene in the American version of The Office where they're kind of racing past on wheelie chairs, past speed cameras. Unfortunately, it's absolutely pissing it down outside, and so we've had to improvise and turn the office into a makeshift racetrack. So basically the rules are that we will try and do 3 laps of the office powered only with our legs in this wheelie chair, whereas everyone else here is going to bombard the racer with all manner of things. What we got? Cushions, speed traps, there's one, things like that, just to slow us down. Basically you're only as good as your best lap, and the winner overall, the guy who gets the girls, the glory, and in some cases guys, is the winner. So, I'm going to go first. I'm going to be the sacrificial guinea pig, and then you two guys can follow. So if you can clear the track, let's race underway.
I'm gonna win.
Oh wait, no stops. That's good. Oh my, what?
Go! Snow on the track.
Yeah!
Time!
He actually did a lot better than what I thought he would.
Yeah?
I thought there was going to be more violence.
So Dan's times are 14.1, 14.2 and 14.1.
I'm Luigi, number 1.
Oh, good drifting.
Mamma mia!
Holy shit. That's some fast times. What is it? What's the time?
Lap 1, 8.2.
Wow.
Lap 2, 9.5. Lap 3, 7.6
Yes!
seconds.
In your face!
It's a fix. This whole
This
thing's
is
a
it.
shams, man. It's a sham.
Give me the trophy now.
I'm the best! Here we go!
How did I take 14 seconds a lap? I must have been...
Shit! Oh, come on.
Taking the crap with it. What do I do?
Wow! I collected a lot of debris.
Right, what is it? What is it?
Well, your first lap was 12.5.
You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it.
I'm not
Your
gonna do it.
second lap was 7.9.
Ah!
And
Oh,
your
what was my best lap?
7.1.
I don't know.
7.1.
7.1.
7.1.
And your
That lap was
final lap,
slow.
I'm afraid to say, was 11.5.
Yeah!
Thanks, Steve.
In your face! Yes, I just want to thank everyone who's helped me to win this office race on chairs. I'm going to start crying. I'm going to start crying. Please stop throwing bits of polystyrene at me.
Well done, Steve.
Thanks, Dan.
I still think you cheated, but well done, Steve.
I used my legs, my cheating legs.
I think it was your low centre of gravity and liveness.
Did you just call me fat?
No, we were all
Short!
we were all sat on the same chair. Of course, our centre of gravity was it was the same height. You had the longest legs.
My legs were.
Saying I've got a
They
fat
had
arse.
more work to make me move, though. Anyway, we're having a bit of a post-race cozy here. But that's the end of the show. So before I sign out, do you guys have anything you'd like to pimp?
Yeah. Go to beardygamingvideos.tumblr.com because that's where you can see all my stuff. Screw my colleagues, it's going to help my numbers and therefore they're less likely to fire me. So do that.
Good.
Great.
And I would like it if you could listen to my podcast, our podcast with my friends who have also been on this show, called Regular Features. I now know you can just Google Regular Features and you will find it. We are like the first
Oh,
results.
you have full SEO.
Yeah,
as
we
they call it.
SEO'd the shit out of it.
Just by putting regular features everywhere.
on everything. Yeah. So yeah, you should be able to find it.
Good stuff. Okay, well, the theme for the next episode, whenever that's going to be, is danger. So send your game, film, and challenge suggestions to the usual places. That is stuff at Explosive Alan, our Facebook page, facebook.com/Explosive Alan Productions, or on Twitter at explosive_Alan. One last update. Our show, thank you for playing, the one that lots of people put their money in for, is almost done. And if you did fund it, you will be receiving an invite to our beta very, very soon. So keep an eye out for that. But that's all for another homework. Hope it was worth the wait. Thank you for watching.
Even though I was expecting it, it still took me by surprise.